Welcome to What's in a Name. Tonight is a very special episode of Reputation versus Reality. I'm your host, Aaron Sun, and tonight we will bring out Abigail Williams, Elizabeth Proctor, John Proctor, Reverend Paris, and a very special guest. Now let's bring in Abigail Williams and Elizabeth Proctor. Welcome, ladies. How are you guys? Good. Okay, now let's start off with Abigail. Do you believe that you were innocent?
100%. I mean, last time I knew, I had a good reputation in Salem. My name is good in the village. I will not have it said my name is spoiled.
But what about the time you were caught dancing in the field?
We did dance. Let you tell them I confessed it.
Why did you accuse Elizabeth of witchcraft?
Aaron, if you love someone, wouldn't you do anything it takes to get them back?
Abby, do not turn this interview towards me. Right now it is about you.
Fine. What was the question?
Tell me why you accuse Elizabeth for stabbing the puppet.
She's blackmailing my name in the village. She's telling lies about me. She's a cold, sniveling woman.
Is that true, Elizabeth?
None of that is true. She stabbed herself and is accusing me. This girl is a murderer, and she must be ripped out of the world.
And you're speaking the truth?
I always speak the truth.
Were you speaking the truth in court?
I didn't tell the truth then. That was the only time I lied, though. I only lied to save my husband's reputation. He's a good man, and he really deserves the best.
When John told you that he was revealing his secret in court, what went through your mind?
I remember saying, "Oh God," and I realized that I should have told the truth then.
You weren't mad about the affair?
I was devastated, and I thought the best thing to do was to let Abigail leave. Although he committed adultery, I have sinned on my own count. It needs a cold wife to prompt luxury.
Okay, Paris, tell me the truth. What's more important to you, your reputation or the safety of your daughter and niece?
The safety of my daughter and niece, of course. I don't want them being in any trouble or being in danger. I mean, when my daughter Betty, when she was sick, I just wanted to help her right away. Or when I suspected them to be witches, I said, no, there be no unnatural cause here. Of course, you can see, I only care for them.
How would you describe your relationship with Proctor?
He's not a bad guy, but for every reason, he seems like he's against me. I'm sure that there is a party in this church. I'm not blind. There's a faction in a party. And Proctor, of course, he's leading it.
Interesting. And how would you describe your preaching as a minister for the people of Salem?
Everybody, they like me. After all, I am an elect. And what I believe is that, don't a minister deserve a house to live in? I'm such an important guy. At least I should deserve that.
The reason why I don't like you, Paris, is because you only care about yourself and money and your reputation. And then it's like, the only reason why you cared about your daughter and niece getting in trouble, didn't want them to get in trouble was because you didn't want your reputation hurt and look bad to the rest of the community. And speaking of money, the last time I was at one of these meetings about mortgages, I thought I was at an auction house.
Okay, well, there goes Paris. Now let's put Proctor in the hot seat. How would you define your relationship with Abigail?
I would describe my relationship with Abigail as a very complicated one. I may think of her softly from time to time, but I will cut off my own hand before I'll reach for her again. Abigail is a very complicated human being. She is very deceptive and persuasive. She has this ability in her that causes many people to believe anything she says or does.
Why do you believe that your wife is so innocent?
I believe that my wife is the most innocent person in the whole community. She's a respectful woman who would put herself in danger in order to save someone else. Elizabeth would do anything, and I mean anything, to make sure the people that she cares about are okay. Another thing about her that makes her so innocent is that she would never tell a lie. Even if she had to lie to protect herself, she would rather tell the truth than put anyone else in danger.
And how did you feel when you confessed all your sins to Elizabeth and the witch trials?
After I told the court about my affair with Abigail, I felt a sense of relief that the burden is no longer on my shoulders. But unfortunately, at the same time, I realized that everything I worked for in the community would soon become non-existent. At the same time, I realized that a man may think that God sleeps, but God sees everything. Even though I asked for forgiveness from the people, I knew that the only person who would forgive me would be my wife, Elizabeth.
And did you ever find goodness in your life?
I wouldn't say that I found goodness in my life, but I did stand for what I believed in. Before I was sentenced to death, I was forced to sign a document saying that I confessed to being a witch. This was a huge mistake. I wanted to live out the rest of my life believing in what I believed in. Before I was supposed to be hanged, I proved that I can hang. You have made your magic now for now. I do think I see some shred of goodness in John Proctor. not enough to wave a banner with, but white enough to keep it.
All the way from Beverly, we have special guest Reverend Hale. So, Mr. Hale, what was your main purpose for coming to Salem?
I was called from Beverly by Reverend Paris to see if his daughter was bewitched.
Why did you question the proctors on the 10 Commandments?
I noticed that the proctors were absent from church 26 times in 17 months. I must call that rare. So I questioned Elizabeth and John if they knew their commandments, and John forgot one, adultery.
What made you have a change in heart on the perspective of the witch trials?
I began to see the flaws in the court system when prepping the proctors for possibly being on trial. Then in court one day, everything was so hysteric that I finally realized how corrupt the system was and that the girls were lying. I was so outraged, I remember saying, "I denounce these proceedings, I quit this court," as I stormed out of the courtroom.
What did you tell Elizabeth before John Proctor was hanged?
I told her to plead with him. It is pride, it is vanity. Be his helper. Take his shame away. I wanted Elizabeth to convince Proctor to confess and save his life, rather than hang.
And what were your reactions to the hanging of John Proctor, Rebecca Nurse, and Martha Corey? And why did you ask Elizabeth to convince John to lie?
I could not believe that they would hang for a crime that was so false. I told them to confess and save their lives. At the moment, to lie and to live is better than to be truthful and to hang.
Why did you ask Elizabeth to convince John to lie?
Life is God's most precious gift. No principle, however glorious, may justify the taking of it. There was blood on my hands, and I was done condemning those who were dying for the truth. I wanted the accused to live, and I knew John was the best chance I had to get the confession. I thought if he confessed, then the others would too, and that their lives would be saved.
Thank you so much, and that concludes our show.